Hare Krishna. So in this chapter, chapter 16, the divine and demoniac. So Krishna has very nicely described the divine qualities, the demoniac qualities. And then he also made a statement in the last few verses that lust, anger and greed are three different gates to hell. And he also instructed Arjuna, and through Arjuna all of us, that one should give up these three: lust, anger and greed. Now, Krishna is going to give last two instructions, which are the concluding shlokas of this chapter. The first is in a negative sense and second is in a positive sense. So let's see the first one, that is shloka number 23. Yaha shastram vidimutsrajya vartate kamakaratah na sa siddhim avapnoti na sukham na param gatim. So here Krishna is saying, Yaha, anyone who shastra vidhim utsrajya, disregards the scriptural injunction, what happens to him? Vartate kamakarata. And he is disregarding because of what? Because he acts according to his own whimsical thoughts. That is, vartate kamakarata. Such a person, nasa siddhim avapnoti. Such a person can not attain perfection. And what else? Na sukham. He cannot attain happiness. Na param gatim. He cannot attain supreme destination. So here in this particular shloka, Krishna is very clearly talking about the scriptural injunctions, importance of scriptural injunctions. Now, one thing we have to understand is, we have been created by the Lord. And Lord will give us how to live our life. Like for example, we have any gadget, say electronic gadget. So that gadget, when it is created, a manual is also created with it. And then it is given to the user to use it properly. Similarly, when this body was created for us, Lord also gave us the life manual, and that is the Vedic scriptures and especially Bhagavad Gita. So when we follow the Bhagavad Gita, implement those principles in our life, we will advance in all the possible ways. But the ones who give it up, all the different instructions, who does not follow the instructions, who ignore the instructions of the Vedic scriptures, whimsically. What do you mean by whimsically? Whimsically means, say, Shastric injunctions are given, so and so things shouldn't be done. And the person who is whimsical in his thought process, he will do those things. And when it is said, so and so things should be done, and such a person will not do those things. So this is called as being whimsical. And when someone is like this, with such a demonic mood of not following the Shastra, such a person cannot progress at all. And here three levels are given. Such a person cannot attain any happiness, cannot attain any perfection, cannot attain supreme destination. Very clearly in this particular shloka, Krishna is saying this. A man may theoretically know all these things, but if he does not apply them in his own life, then he is to be known as the lowest of mankind. Now see, the first category of people are, they're like animals. They don't know anything from the Shastra. They've never come in touch. There's no exposure because they're in ignorance like animals. Next level is, they have got some exposure to the Vedic scriptures. They have got exposure to Bhagavad Gita teachings. But then, they're not applying in their lives. Such people, here, they are called as lowest of mankind, Naradhama. And then, okay, after knowing, in the human form of life, the living entity is expected to be sane and to follow the regulations given for elevating his life to the highest platform. But if he does not follow them, he degrades himself. It's very clear, no? When we are using a gadget and we are not following the manual and we don't know how to operate the gadget, we will spoil the gadget. Similarly, in our life also, when we are not following the life manual Bhagavad Gita, And we're just living the life whimsically, thinking whatever I'm doing is right, whatever they're doing is wrong, etc. etc. So, what will happen? We will degrade ourselves in all the possible ways. And that's why we see in this world now, when so many people are not following the life manual, see how frustrated they are. Anything happens, they're frustrated. Any small thing, they're disturbed. No tolerance level at all. Why all these things? Why all these different problems, which are coming up? Only because the Vedic scriptures are not followed. Life manual Bhagavad Gita is not followed. So, they're getting degraded. Now say, here it is given, a person, he has got the exposure of the Vedic scriptures, he has started following the Vedic scriptures also. But, here it is given, if he ultimately does not come to the stage of understanding the Supreme Lord, then all his knowledge becomes spoiled. Exposure to knowledge is there, he is following also, but then he is not coming to the essence of the Vedic scriptures, that is to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. If he does not come to this platform, then all his endeavors are spoiled. Okay, now we have another case. Exposure to the knowledge is there. The person has started applying that, following that, and then he has come to the conclusion also, he understood the essence also. Now, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? He has come to that platform of understanding Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. But after coming to that, if he does not serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then also, here it is given, all his attempts are spoilt. So, in this way, we understand that finally, when we go through the Shastra, it is very important to come to the platform of understanding that Krishna is supreme, we are his servants, and we are supposed to serve him. This is the actual perfect understanding. So, here finally it is said, therefore one should gradually raise himself to the platform of Krishna consciousness and devotional service. It is then and there that he can attain the highest perfectional stage, not otherwise. We are so fortunate, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, directly we have got this. Directly we are practicing devotional service, we are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we are reading Bhagavad Gita, we are coming in association of devotees and doing various services, preaching. We are doing all this. This is all by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. And finally, here it is said, the human life is especially meant for purifying one's existence. And one who does not follow the rules and regulations cannot purify himself, nor can he attain the real stage of happiness. So, this human form, currently the form that we have got, is very rare. But one thing we have to understand is, we are contaminated. Our consciousness is very much contaminated because we are there in this material world from so many lifetimes. And that's why this enjoying tendency, lording it over material nature, enviousness towards the Lord, towards the living entities is ingrained now, somehow or the other. So we need to purify ourselves. And how to purify? By following the Vedic scriptures as it is. So Prabhupada named the Bhagavad Gita, which he published, it as Bhagavad Gita as it is. So this is a very, very important point to note, that one should follow the rules and regulations to purify oneself. And when a person is purifying himself and comes to the stage of complete purification, such a person will attain real happiness. Others cannot. So we are very, very fortunate. The only thing that is needed is, we shouldn't get deviated now from what we are following. What is given in Bhagavad Gita as it is. We should follow it nicely. We shouldn't get deviated because that person is saying something, this person is saying something. That's okay, let them say whatever they want. Our faith on the Shastra should be very, very strong. And this is the important qualification to start one's devotional practice. That is unflinching faith on the Vedic scriptures. This should be there, this should be very clear. If we don't have that, then we should associate with those people who have this faith on Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and other Vedic scriptures. We should associate with those people who are implementing these principles in their day-to-day life very nicely, word to word. And by associating with them, we will also be inspired. We will imbibe that quality and we will also get that faith in the Vedic scriptures, especially Bhagavad Gita. And once that faith comes, then we can start progressing very nicely. So in this way, Krishna, in a negative sense, he has told, if you don't follow rules and regulations, you cannot attain happiness, you cannot attain perfection, you cannot attain the ultimate destination. Now let's see in the next shloka, which is the last shloka of this chapter, what is Krishna telling us. Let's see that in the next video. Hare Krishna.